Come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on the playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we're talking about the big M's, coming attractions, what the cue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television and entertainment news with too many else with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is...
John Berger, and a third one is...
Kyle Bridger. You know, there is the Jonas Brothers. There is the Super Mario Brothers. And then there are the Disgusting Brothers. Doo-doo-doo.
Oh my goodness, yeah, you can't make some Tomlets without breaking a few Gregs, and we're breaking them tonight. We're talking about it. It's finally here. The Succession Season 4 premiere. The final season premiere of Succession. Oh, man, I just wanted to yell F off to HBO Max. 4 seasons, that's it? That's all we're getting? But don't worry. We got other TV shows we're going to be talking about, too. We have a bunch of quick checks. A lot of shows are dropping because... spoiler, it's the eligibility period before the Emmys cutoff date in May. So that's why we're getting all these shows coming out. Lucky Hank, Swarm, Yellowjackets, Ted Lasso, a lot of quick checks to talk about. But first, we have this first segment. And John, I need your help. What is it?
In and out points.
In or the out. In or the out. In, out, in, out, in, out.
Yes, it is in and out points. And if you've been looking at the weekend box office, there's been a lot of numbers in each movie title. There's John Wick 4, Shazam 2, Scream 6, Ant-Man 3, Avatar 2, 65, and Creed 3. And we're going to focus on that last one because it ain't stopping at 3. Creed 3 has already racked up 100 million plus global opening. Its box office total, just 20 days into its release, has surpassed the entire total of Creed 2. And since March 3rd, it has already grossed $246 million worldwide. So, naturally, there's a hit, and we're going to squeeze this sponge dry. According to Deadline, there have been meetings with franchise star and filmmaker Michael B. Jordan on various Creed-related projects, for the past year or so, and those plans have only gotten bigger since Creed 3's opening. Well, details are still in the, opening stages. Spin-off IP could include an anime series, a live-action TV series, a project around Adonis Creed's daughter. This is in addition to the Drago spin-off. That was going to be a movie that's been in the works for a while. And of course, more regular Creed films, 4 or 5, whoever knows how many more Creeds we're going to get. So we got the Creedverse. Who's excited? Kyle, you ready to go?
Well, I want to see Creed 3 first, but I don't know if I'm the biggest fan. I just don't like this when they squeeze everything out of one little bit of IP. I mean, I understand the anime thing because I think Michael B. Jordan is really into anime. So that kind of makes sense for me that he might want to go down that kind of road. And I just think this film, Creed 3 probably did so well because I feel like there was a lot of marketing behind it.
Yeah.
And I think Jonathan Majors is like a big star in the making. So
Well, I mean, we're taping this after the weekend of who knows. I mean, there's some stuff going on right now. We don't know the full details yet, but he's definitely, between this and Ant-Man, was on the rise for sure.
Yeah, and so I saw that she possibly recanted the story. I don't know what the full story is, but either way, I don't know. To me, it's just like, can we let? I understand for the creator, they want to make some more money, they want to make some more cash. I get it, but it's just like it's too much of a good thing at a certain point.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of spin-offs in the last 10 years. This is already a spin-off. So now we're doing spin-offs of spin-offs. Has Hollywood ran out of that many ideas?
Yeah.
That being said, the last couple of Creed movies were pretty good, so I can understand why there's a little bit of driving force behind it. But yeah, I feel like we're treading on dangerous land here. Like, yes, you can do that, but do we need to do that much at one time? Maybe do a few, see what kind of traction you get beyond the movies and how the projects go.
Yeah.
Like,
this is what they keep doing. They go all in on these things all at once instead of like, let's just put our toes in the water on this spinoff. Let's just try something here.
We're still waiting for the 80 Tiger King spinoffs and all that. Like, a lot of times they don't go anywhere on their own. So maybe we're in the clear here. But.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just like trying to strike while the iron's hot, and it's like, we're going to put a bunch of stuff in development and know that only one or two of these things is actually going to get made, kind of thing.
All the GameStop movies and stuff. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the Showtime's billions strategy of billions, trillions, millions. You think I'm joking with those titles? Those are real titles.
I know.
And it's like, maybe this was something 3-4 years ago you should have been thinking about. And because, as you mentioned, John, it's based off of Rocky. This is the 9th film, technically, in this universe. And there's this statement in that Deadline article I want to read where they said, when they're talking about the Creedverse, quote, "And there is the mothership Rocky franchise. There's nothing tangible yet. There have been some on and off talks about exploring the iconic boxer's story, including his origins." Isn't that the Rocky franchise?
Rocky
Yeah.
Well, we might explore the iconic boxer's story. He was in 8 films. We saw him from 1976 to like whatever 4 years ago. We know his story. Yeah. We saw his first match. We saw it. We were there.
I do like the terminology mothership series, though.
Yeah. It's the mothership. And again, it's sad because I think we've talked about it because spoiler, I guess. He's not in Creed 3, so I don't know what kind of profit participation he gets, if anything at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad where it's like, this was his, I believe his creation.
Yeah. But you know what? If you just want that couple of bucks in your pocket and you're done with everything and you never intend to return to the series and your name's up in the Hall of Fame and all that, and maybe he just wants a few bucks and he's willing to be like, yeah, sure, just cut me in, do what you want. Like, I don't want any part of it.
Well, I don't know if he's getting any bucks from that.
Is he not an exec producer on this?
I think we talked about in Creed 3. Remember, there was some between some of the producers there. I mean, I'm doing a quick Wikipedia search here. I'm seeing if he's listed as a producer. I guess he is a producer on the film, so I guess he's getting something from that, but I think it's completely just title alone.
Does he not own like some of the rights to like the Rocky and all the characters and all, or like I don't know how that works. I don't know what part of that does he have. I would assume he had something, but maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get some more info here. With Stallone, I just remember we talked about, I think on the Good and Bad Watchable podcast, of how there was definitely some differences that Stallone wanted to be involved, and the producers. Check
out the show notes where Dave does his homework after the show.
Exactly. Hey, I did a lot for this one, Mister.
No, I'm not saying you're lacking. I'm just saying I'm assigning you more homework.
Okay. Well, I'm getting out of this. I'm just glad that the Rocky, the Creed universe isn't doing any NFTs yet, or better yet, dealing with anything in the metaverse. But don't worry, we got somebody that is, and that's Paris Hilton. She has a dating show, Parisland, and she is set to play matchmaker in the metaverse with this new interactive dating show. It's billed as a romantic adventure set on a tropical island, and Parisland sees players participate in an in-game dating show hosted by Hilton in the Sandbox Metaverse platform. Now, Parisland will provide players with 5 potential romantic partners, and they will participate in tasks such as choosing wedding rings and outfits, finding out the secrets of the island chef's famed love burger, rescuing a castaway, and flirting with other contestants before making their choice of a partner. Then they'll have a wedding with Hilton DJing for the new couple. All right, guys, am I signing you up for Paris Land.
Oh my god.
Nothing says finding a date like sitting alone in your room in VR, pretending to eat a what was it? A love burger? I didn't even remember
It's
what
a
it
love
was.
burger.
A love burger? Oh yeah. Pulling apart those the pickles of commitment off your burger because you're not a fan of pickles, and scooting next to and clipping into your date because you moved too far. Nothing says dating just like that, right?
When I see stuff like this, it just reminds me of, I think, the crappy, it might still be a thing, I have no idea, of like Second Life.
Oh, it's
Was that
still a
the
thing.
Oh,
Second Life and VR chat. Yep. 100%,
yeah,
man.
it just reminds me of that. And it's just like, how many people are actually in this world? Am I just so far removed? I'm just more scared of this type of stuff, like AI
a lot of people
and all
not
this
even
stuff.
joking.
Well,
It's crazy, man.
I will say we're making jokes about it. I will say at least you are meeting people here. I like that. Sure, you're in your room alone, but you're at least meeting and talking with people.
Sure.
I've seen so many stories about like in the metaverse, like there's the metaverse housing market, and it's the prices are insane. It's even worse than the real housing market situation. And I'm like, why would I want to own this fake digital house when I can't even afford a real house?
I know. I'm going to be disappointed in my VR world too. I can't afford rent in my VR world.
VR metaverse and like VR chat are very different because like you can make a house in whatever program you make it in and host your own house in VR chat and not pay, like it's very different from between metaverse and this. So I think metaverse is something completely separate that should be not included. But I get what you're saying. Like it's weird. It's just weird.
I just want to touch on how many we need to look back in Paris Hilton's like
IMDb.
lifespan.
Oh.
She's got the weirdest project she's ever been a part of, dude.
Yeah.
She's part of the weirdest, strangest out there stuff. It's just so unique, man.
Do you have that homework up, or is John gonna give
I'm
me a
not looking
mouthful?
at it. I just
All
know.
right, your assignment for today. No.
Yeah.
The project she's done, the things she's been associated with, is just like out there weird stuff, man.
I just love this description, looking more back on it, where it's like, oh, here's some of the things you're going to do. You're going to find out the secrets of the Island Chef's famed love burger. You're going to rescue a castaway. What kind of scenario is this? Like, so there's going to be somebody that's in this VR world that's like, just like kidnapped and you have to rescue them. Like, what's going on there? But so the CEO and the co-founder of the Sandbox said, quote, "I can't think of a better way to light up in the winter months than a romantic getaway to Paris Hilton's tropical island in the metaverse. Parisland offers a dazzling escape to sunny beaches, lighthearted romance, and genuine emotion as you discover and woo your romantic partner and celebrate with a destination wedding."
So
Dazzling?
Is it
Dazzling? Because I'm looking at these images. It looks like some off-brand Lego pieces that
Roblox?
are made into the
it's
Wii
Roblox.
characters. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know. Is it really a genuine connection if there's like a computer or several computers and several like how many miles between you and somebody else and 2 seconds worth of latency when you're talking? Like, is that really?
also,
John, I haven't seen you in forever, but I feel we have a real connection on the podcast, and we're doing this over
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah. Well,
now, can
I
they
won't comment.
prevent people from doing something obscene, or can you do like obscene gestures and stuff like this when you're in the middle of this?
all depends on what level of detail they build into their character models. 'cause
Yeah, I'm
they
looking
do
at these
have-
character details. There's not much there.
They do have VR instances where you can do hand tracking and you can make hand gestures and all that, and you can do it, but you have to be able to, like, somebody has to program you to be able to do it. You have to have the proper hand tracking. You have to have the proper waist tracking or leg tracking and arm tracking to do some of these things. So yeah, it really depends on what level their tech is evolved to and what they allow.
I also wonder if Paris Hilton even knows what the metaverse is.
Somebody approached her with an idea.
Yeah,
It's like, hey,
it's got
we want your name on it. Let's do it.
You're gonna DJ
I don't know
in
what
this
the
thing.
I don't know what the metaverse is, so
Yeah.
but yeah.
Come shill these NFTs. We won't sue you in 6 months. Like, like.
Well, I will say Hilton is not the only celebrity with their own dating show. Nick Cannon is also looking for someone to have his 13th baby. The best way to describe this next project here, Who's Having My Baby, is the official teaser posted by Nick Cannon on Instagram. Let's play it.
Guys, you're on a game show right now.
Kevin Hart and Nick Cannon are coming to E! for the mother of all game shows.
Having my baby with Nick Cannon. You got pyro? Yeah. You're going to get some contestants that want to have your baby.
We're not kidding around.
Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's go!
Who's Having My Baby with Nick Cannon, hosted by Kevin Hart. This spring, only on E!
Guys got to put a cork in his cannon, man. Come on.
There has to be some legalese behind this. There's no way, dude.
I don't know. It seems pretty legit. It's on E! They're not kidding around. Do you see what they did there? That promo copy? They're not kidding. They're not kidding.
Oh my God.
But wait, they actually are kidding. The real announcement was actually the birth of another new series, Celebrity Prank Wars.
Okay.
That's going to be on E! Kevin Hart and Nick Cannon are going to be there. No dating show a part of it yet. I mean, what if this is actually a prank inside of a prank and it's actually they got us again? But I'm just annoyed with this whole prank thing because it's like, here it is. Well, it seems pretty fake to me. Well, no. We got news sites backing it up. It's being reported everywhere. This is real. Yeah. I don't know. It still looks, pretty fake to me. No, really, it's real. Believe us. Okay, I believe you. Gotcha. What a loser you think you are to think that. It's like,
yeah,
a lot of people seem to believe it. What's that say?
I know. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. It'd be like, oh, okay.
But it's just, it's with E! saying we're not kidding around. It's like, well, you were kidding around.
Yeah.
But also, I don't understand, who's the prank for? Who's this prank happening to?
Yeah, the prank's on us, I guess.
The prank's on Nick Cannon. No.
It's on Nick Cannon, so I guess Kevin Hart pranked Nick to just show up to a studio and just sit there for 2 hours. I got you. How's that? How long? It's like, okay, that's funny for the first 5 minutes, but we're actually going to sit here and do this taping for 2 hours. It's like, but yeah, so it's, I don't know the full logic of the prank and the prank war here, but it's
all fabricated then. I mean, pretty much what it is. It's essentially that. Yeah, like, Nick, come down to my studio, pretty much. Yeah. Just like you said. Oh, God.
But other participants on Celebrity Prank Wars include Anthony Anderson, Tiffany Haddish, Taraji P. Henson, Little John, Ludacris, Joel McHale, Chance the Rapper, T-Pain, Robin Thicke, and many others. These three, however, they are part of a different prank show, and we'll talk about this a little bit too here. They're part of the prank panel. There's so many prank shows. It's the summer of prank television. The prank panel is here. It's coming to ABC with Eric Andre, Johnny Knoxville, and Gabrielle Sidibe. But for that one, it's everyday folks are going to pitch pranks targeting their family members, friends, and coworkers versus the celebrities
I think I like that better.
Of punk.
Yeah.
So John, you're going to check out the prank panel?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider watching it. I'd want to see maybe a nice little teaser first to see what kind of pranks they're doing. Like, is it going to be Jackass style pranks, or is it going to be more like the old, what was it, Punked or whatever? Which way are they going with it? Is it going to be, more hurtful or harmful, or harmful or fun or whatever? So I don't know. I would consider it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with celebrity prank deathmatch or whatever they called it, I forget what they called it. But
deathmatch.
I feel like they wouldn't do anything too egregious. I would want to see something like a Punked back in the day, and I feel like if it was just everyday people, they're much more likely to do it because it's like, hey, my friend, Jim, he sucks. I want to try and get him with this, and it'd be much more.
Even I love my friend Jim. He loves a good joke. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd be so happy to have this happen to him. Like, it doesn't have to be malicious. In fact, I think it's better when it's not. But I agree. Because I mean, how do you invite a celebrity into a scenario to get pranked. You know what I mean? Like, oh, dude, just roll by the studio. Like, you know, I know you signed an NDA last week, but
a baby show for you for the next 3 hours. But if I saw Eric Andre anywhere near me, I'd be running for the hills. I'm scared. I'm sorry. But,
I love Eric Andre, but
no, he's great, but he's scary.
Yeah.
What he's going to come up with. It's an interesting trio there. I'm kind of intrigued by having those three together. But
I want to go back to the previous one. The only way that would be good is if Kevin Hart knew people that Nick Cannon hooked up with and actually brought them back into the studio. Oh my God. Who's having my baby? Well, it possibly could. Could be.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty good actually. If like one of them was pregnant and you had to figure out which one. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, all right. That is it for In and Out Points tonight. We're gonna jump now to our main show. We're gonna be breaking down all about it. In order to talk about it, send us back.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
Succession, the season 4 premiere, The Munsters, aired last night, March 26th. Now, this takes place months after the events in Tuscany and the season 3 finale, All the Bells Say. Logan is celebrating his birthday in New York, while Kendall, Shiv, and Roman are in LA to propose a new media startup. And when the siblings learn that Logan is attempting to purchase PGM just 48 hours before the Gojo acquisition, they decide to enter their own rival bid. All right, here we go. We're breaking it down. Spoilers for the season 4 premiere Succession. Start me off, Kyle. Initial thoughts, overall feelings on the premiere.
We're back in the saddle, man. I loved it. It took me a good 5 minutes to get back into it, but once we got it rolling, it was fantastic. A couple of dynamite scenes, which I'll point out later. Greg and Tom, the whole crew. We got the kids back together. Man, it's so good to be back. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, every week I always write, what are my pros, what are my cons, for my reviews. And for pros, I just wrote this show.
Yeah.
The acting, the writing, the directing, everything about it. And I was telling John before we started, like, you can go in our archives and you can listen to what we thought about, like, the series premiere. And I think we were, like, mixed on it. I think we were pretty much down on, like, season 1 as in general. But we all gave it another go around. And by season 2, locked and loaded, I was fully in. And this one now one of my favorite shows, period, on television.
For sure. It's so good.
And you mentioned, the first like 5-10 minutes, like it was hard to get, like, even though I did a season 3 rewatch, I was like getting back into the rhythm of it. And I feel like the show also was trying to, get back into the rhythm a little bit. It felt like obviously this premiere is a bit of a like table setting. You get to see exposition, like, okay, how long is this time jump? So it felt a bit off at first, just in the beginning, felt a little clunky. But I'm going to give it a pass because, again, it's the premiere. We're setting up this season, and it still had some killer lines, some zingers, some real background stuff that, like, it was like some very faint, like you might miss it kind of just like, comebacks and stuff like that. So it's definitely warranting a rewatch. But we mentioned it in the description. I will say one of the things that I wouldn't say is a con, but like it kind of stinks about just how things play out with the show is having the group split up so often. And you have to have it here. I mean, obviously we have a storyline in New York. We have a storyline in LA in this first episode because after what happened in the season 3 finale, I mean, wouldn't it make sense for all of them to be in a room? And that's the one like downside because, man, this thing really hits on all cylinders when that ensemble is just together firing. And I'm sure, because this is what the show does, at some point, we're going to bring everyone together no matter what. We'll force them all into a room together like we did last season with season 3 when Kendall versus the family. Yeah. And we're going to do it again this time. Probably a wedding. We know there's a certain wedding coming up.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh, got any thoughts on the Connor wedding here? Are you a con head, Kyle?
Well, I just love the scene where there was a line. I can't remember who says it. It might have been Greg, but he said 1 because that's like the lowest you could go when he's talking about his percentage. like you can't go any lower. So just his whole
there's decimals. There are decimals.
Yeah, he's just trying to stay alive. And then as his fiance is just like, I don't really want to do that wedding, and he's like describing the worst.
Yeah, he's like the Statue of Liberty
wedding.
with a brass band and whatever. But yeah, I'm excited because it's we're gonna probably get some. I don't think it'll be so outlandish and crazy, but I'm sure this wedding of all the weddings we've seen with the show is gonna just be. It's gonna be wild. He's trying to drive his polling numbers up for this election. He is at 1%. He said he could probably spend $100 million. That would probably keep him there. It would probably keep him at 1%. But he would be down $100 million. He could afford it, but he's like, oh. Yeah. So it's it's just so funny. It's
that whole conversation because he's talking about it like it's dollar bills. You know, he's like, well, if I spend 100. 200 million wouldn't be. And she's like, well, we'd still be rich, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, of course. And it's just like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Crazy.
Well, Connor's not the only one getting some love. We got one of the disgusting brothers, Greg, is getting some love in this first episode. He brings a dating app date to Logan's birthday party. Gets a little handsy in one of the rooms, and I gotta ask. So, of course, then Tom's like, "Oh, you made a huge mistake. Logan has this place wired with cameras, right?" And he immediately starts freaking out. I'm torn because either way, it still works. I think Tom is messing with him, probably with the cameras.
Of course,
but I also wouldn't put it past him. Like, I'm sure there's cameras somewhere in that apartment.
Yeah,
but it's just the idea that just Tom is just doing a complete straight face, just like messing with him. Yeah. And he believes it.
Yeah. And I just figured he was messing with him.
Yeah. But either way, Greg ends up telling Logan at possibly one of the worst times.
I know.
And I'm so bummed we didn't get to see it. I know we got the recant of it, but man, I would have loved to have that Greg actually bringing it up and seeing Logan's face but Greg does, give him a few jabs, though, to Logan. Logan wants to be roasted. Mm-hmm. He wants to hear some jokes. It's too dry. Yeah. And obviously,
oh, my God.
Greg fights back a little bit, but I think this is a very telling scene because not only did we get a bit of comedy, Succession comedy, hearing Carl and everyone else try to do jokes here, but I think it really shows that he's missing the kids. He's missing the 3 of them because those were the only 3 that were really able to joke around with him, to rib each other, to insult each other. He's saying it's too dry in here, and it's just because you don't have 3 of them telling each other to F off.
Because it was really the kids going back and forth, bantering about making jokes at their own expense. But he must have liked seeing that because he's a crazy maniac, you know what I mean?
And they're the only ones that could possibly ever really stand up to Logan. I mean, Jerry and Carl and all of them are not going to say what the kids say to Logan. And I will say, speaking of Logan and insults and everything, I love how in every interview recently that Brian Cox is talking about, every time they are asking about method acting. Every single interview at this point, we got to bring up method acting to Brian Cox because he hates it so much. And Jeremy Strong uses, some method acting playing Kendall. And I just love this here because it's is this some kind of weird 4D chess that Brian Cox is doing?
Maybe he's doing it just to make him angry.
Yeah, because it's it helps because the whole thing is it's helping Jeremy with his method. Yeah. Because his dad hates the method and he's yelling at his son who wants the approval of his father. It's actually this kind of reverse psychology of the method hating is actually helping his method.
It could be. I mean, hey, it could be.
Yeah. Either way, it's working. Everyone's doing great, and we're talking about the kids a bit, and I will feel it was a bit light of a Kendall episode. Obviously, everyone had their moments, but I feel like of the three, it was I was really noticing Roman in this episode and him really wavering about this deal about buying Pierce. And I feel like we saw it last season that he might, we joked about it in the early beginnings that he probably would be one of the worst people to be, running a company. But recently he's been more of business savvy than I think the other two have been. I mean, he was the one that kind of led the Gojo deal to begin with, starting with Madison, and he was the only one actually working to pick out this logo for the 100. Everyone else is coming rolling in, eating snacks, joking around. It's he's actually putting in some time, doing some work here, and he's the only one that really sees how insane it is going 10 billion all in on this Pierce deal. What did you think about that whole negotiation, Kyle?
Well, they were negotiating against themselves, and this is their whole problem is, Roman didn't wanted to feel like he was going against Dad. Yeah. He's worried about going against his father. And even though they won't admit it, they do want to get back at their dad, Kendall and Shiv. So, I think Roman, like they said in the end of the episode, he wants to create a space for himself. But even I think it was telling that once Kendall came in the room, he became so unsure of himself again. Yeah. Right? When they was talking about the logos, he's looking over at Kendall oh no, that's terrible. That's terrible. And he's he's not, he's like a little weasel. He's never going to be sure.
Yeah, he doesn't have that killer instinct. He doesn't have that, ready to push the button kind of thing. And it's just, you saw how giddy Shiv and Kendall were when they beat Dad and pissed him off. Yeah. And it shows that this was all just for that win. Because, before they even heard about Pierce, it's they were talking about making their own small, new, sleek company that can maneuver. But as soon as they heard, Dad wants this, we can do that. Yeah. And it's just they completely changed their tune. And, the whole negotiation, Logan, they don't know who's bidding what. Logan starts at 6. Their initial offer was at 8. And, they did, the whole Pierce family was great because they're kind of being fantastic. The numbers, it's so terrible to talk about numbers, but could you do more than 8? It was this kind of slide thing.
This is disgusting. And then we're thinking about it.
But what also happened, because I saw somebody post on Twitter, I believe, that when we first, really are talking about Pierce, that the Turnhaven episode in season 2, Logan was ready to buy it then. And that buy was 25 billion. So they must have had some bad luck over these last, whatever it's been, a year or so, to now being evaluated at, 6, 8, 10 billion instead of, because they were saying for Logan was ready to buy it and he's absolutely not. We will not sell to Logan and that family. And then it's for 25 billion. Well, you only got it now for 10.
Yeah. Well, I think the writing was on the wall because Kendall keeps talking about revitalizing it and changing it with the, an updated style. So I think the Pierce family was ready to get rid of it. And that's why they were willing to sell it to Logan now, so easily. But I think with how the negotiations went, I think Logan was in the right here in that he's dum-dums, you just blew your whole, the whole thing. And what were you thinking?
Because obviously, this Pierce service will make money, but will it make 10 billion? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, their house is nice. They're making money, but it's going to be a long process with a lot of hard work. And are you going to be able to put in that hard work without causing chaos? And of course, Logan's congrats. He said the biggest number. And I'm really wondering, can Logan figure out a way probably to screw them over? I mean, it's kind of all Succession, where it starts off where maybe a character's riding high in the premiere, and then we saw at the beginning of season 3, Kendall was pretty high, and then it went down. And is it going to happen here? Because right now Logan is the low one, and
But
I'm wondering how it works out because like I don't know the exact financials here of the Roy family, because last season they wanted Kendall to cash out his stock in season 3, which was I think like a few $1 billion then. I don't know what it total was going to be, but if like somehow this Gojo deal doesn't go through, will they get this money or as much money for this? So that's where it's
I don't think they can, but I think the assumption on their part is the Gojo deal has to go through because it was part of Logan's thing of like whatever happened in that deal, like the aftermath of the cruise ship and all that stuff coming down, right? It was part of that, and so he kind of wanted to sell to get out from underneath that because he was like, I still want to be the holding the cards behind everything. So I think he was going to sell it, but he was still going to be kind of manning the ship.
And he's going to spin off. Well, because I think in this, by the end of season 3, if this Gojo deal goes through, Madison will be like in charge of a lot of the Waystar stuff, except for ATN, the news side.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Disney Fox merger and how they split off the Fox News part. And I think that's what it's leading to, which means it's still going to be Pierce versus ATN.
Yeah.
Like, so it's still going to be these two groups here, no matter what. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because, it's like, could they screw him over by messing around with this deal?
I'm sure
it's still
he's
48 hours to go. So things could still happen.
Try. I'm sure he's definitely going to try to screw over the kids in some way.
Yeah. And now the episode ends. We should talk about everything going on with Shiv and Tom. Now, they were on the phone throughout the episode, and he initially told them about Pierce, and mostly I think it was like, just like it's not a date, we're not doing that kind of thing. I just want you to know that, and Kendall know that, like I'm not doing that. But also it's like he's still kind of playing both sides, like because we saw the exchange with him and Logan, and he was talking even after this betrayal in season 3. He's still not 100%. I feel like with Logan, he's like, yeah, if we're good, we're good. Like, well, I kind of need more than that. I want some more assurance here. So it's an interesting scene because they're talking about divorce. They are talking about it. They've been separated for a while. They're talking about divorce, but I will say neither left the apartment at the end. Both were still holding hands in bed. So I thought it was an interesting way that they did this. I don't know, like it could be over, but also I don't know if it is.
Yeah, because I really think Tom does. He's like he said, he's like, this would suck if this happens, and he wants to talk about why he betrayed her, kind of by going with her father, and she doesn't want to hear it. So there's all that baggage, let alone the baggage that was happening in this episode, where now she's using information that he got. Or she got from him against him. So the thing about Tom that's so sad is that he wants to be a part of this family. He's always wanted to be a part of this family, liked by Logan. He wants to be liked by Logan. He wants Shiv to love him, and he's not going to get either of those things from any relationship from the Roy family because they're incapable of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what's he do? Now he uses Greg as a punching bag, and they have this stupid little joke together, and he even says to Shiv, who creates a bigger thing than it is, and he's just like, we just get drinks together. Like it's not anything. It's just so, and like that scene right there, dude, Matthew McFadden is such a good actor, dude. He's so good.
Yeah, both of them in that scene was just heartbreaking because you don't really see this half the time in this show. It's just there's so many moments of just like rapid fire like insults, but to have a scene as emotional as this, and especially just like I feel like Tom has really opened up these last few seasons. The big scene on season 2, like on the beach with Shiv, was maybe like the start of it, and we've been seeing it just being really honest and just being really open, and I'm just excited to see where everything goes this season. Obviously we're both definitely in. I am curious about how it will all end. Like I have a feeling it isn't going to be so nicely tied up with a bow that some people are maybe thinking a finale could do, especially because I saw the article, I'm sure you saw too, where Sarah Snook, who plays Shiv, didn't know until the final table read that it was the end of the series, which is interesting because it's like, well, wait, there was no hints along the way.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where it's like worrying, where it's like, was this like Jesse Armstrong is saying, I made a decision, like it made the most sense. This is it. HBO was like, we would have taken another season. This is like their decision. It's not a cancellation or anything like that. But it's like, yeah, I've heard for the longest time 5 seasons. I've always heard that for the longest time. And it's like, it's a little worrying if the actors were reading the scripts and didn't know until,
But you never know.
60
you don't
minutes
know
from the end that this is it.
Well, yeah, but you never know what happens in the final table read. Maybe it'll be a worthwhile thing. I don't know.
Either way, we'll definitely be talking about it, checking in throughout the season, and definitely talking about the finale later this.
I just have to mention the Brian Cox scene in the diner was fantastic. Yeah. Oh man,
that's another great moment. Another slow down, like actual like moment of like like thinking about a series finale, but also a series finale for his character. Like is this it? But
yeah. And then I just had every scene with Tom and Greg is just so ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's all we got for our main show. We have a few quick checks to talk about. A bunch of premieres this week. Some series premieres, some season premieres. We're going to talk about them. Let's do it. Quick check. All right. We're going to start off with John. John, what do you got for us? Tell us about it.
I watched Lucky Hank, starring Bob Odenkirk. It's the story about a English professor and his life at a community college, it looks like. Maybe a little bit bigger than community college, but I guess I'll be spoiling a little bit, so keep that in mind. But this was a little bit of a rough one. It's the first episode of the series, and they're trying to set up a lot, and they're trying to convey a lot, and it didn't grab me. I think that from some of the trailers I saw and the fact that Bob's in it, I'll probably give another episode or two a shot, but it doesn't. It's supposed to be a drama and a comedy, and it's not really hitting either one of those. I didn't really laugh at all the first episode. I can kind of see where the drama comes in, some of the points, but I felt like what they tried to do funny undermined the drama, and what they tried to be dramatic undermined the comedy. So it just didn't really go that far. I don't know. Kyle, did you saw this or no?
I did not see Lucky Hank. No, I did not see it.
I don't know. Like I said, I'll give it a few more just to check it out. But initial thoughts, if it were any other show, I probably would say no thanks for the rest of it. So we'll see. Well, maybe we'll do another.
It sounds like you're giving it. You're giving a few more though.
I'll give it a few more. Yeah.
All right.
Just because of the weight behind it,
Yeah, I hear you. Well, there's something we all saw, and I believe John, you saw all of it, so you're definitely maybe interested or enough to finish the show, and that's Swarm. This is a psychological horror thriller from Janine Neighbor and Donald Glover, and follows Dre, a young woman whose obsession with a pop star takes a dark turn. We all saw this, but Kyle, start me off. What do you think of Swarm?
So I've seen about half the season 1, I think. I was really into it from the start. I was like wondering what's going on with this character. Is she like have some kind of mental illness? How does she relate to, her sister or her friend, who she calls her sister? The boyfriend character, her fanaticism over this pop culture icon, and the commentary surrounding that was very interesting. And just this thrilling kind of like ending where, spoiler alert, she like bashes her her friend's boyfriend kills him after her friend finds out that he was cheating on her, and it's like this really intense thing. And I think it's also probably a commentary on, you know, men and male and female relations and stuff like that. And so I was really, really into this show. And then I'll just say I got a few episodes later, and this character is now just annoying the heck out of me, and I've really slowed down. So, yeah. But initially, I really, really liked it.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, I definitely could see the cinematography, the production values. It reminds me, I mean, of Atlanta. Obviously, Donald's a part of it. The color palette, just the look and feel of it's all there. The sound design, hearing the foreboding hits and the swarming bees. Like, there's a lot of great details in this. But I agree with you. I'm only 2 episodes in, and I think the main character is tough for me. Dominique Fishback is doing great.
Yeah, she's great.
But the character is hard. The lead character that we're supposed to be following here, it's just, you know, first episode, okay, it was, you know, oh, wow, a strong premiere. Where are we going with this? And even by the second episode, it felt a bit aimless to me. Like, where are we going? What's the through line? Where is this going? And then with her, it's just, I don't really like the character. So that's the issue. But John, what do you think?
No, I definitely agree. I think I spent the majority of the season wondering why. What's the payoff? What are we doing? We kind of get to a point at the end where you understand a bit more about the relationship between everybody and some stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting to watch because it's well produced, well shot. It looks great. The content's kind of interesting, but yeah, you don't really get much of a guidance as to why. There's one weird episode, I think it's episode 6, that is completely different than the rest. I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but
Atlanta season 3.
Yeah, it's very weird. It ties in. It's not just like completely abstract, but it's a weird break, and then you go right back into the regular stuff for the last episode. I don't know. I was kind of hoping that, you know, it would be explained a bit better along the way, and it wasn't. But I can't say I didn't enjoy the ride. It just, I kind of wasn't maybe fully aware of what the ride was while I was on it, you know?
Yeah, where are we going? What's the destination here?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I'm going to keep going with it. It's one that's, I feel like you got to be in the right mood for. It is, you know, dark. It's not an easy watch, I feel like, to have it on and, you know, kick back and relax. So it might take me a little bit with it. Kyle, you going to finish it, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to finish it, but I really stormed through the first, I think, 3 to 4 episodes, and then I really cooled off. So I'll get back to it. I will finish it. I just, you're right. I have to be in the right mindset and mood because I just get frustrated by the main character so much. Yeah, so I'll finish it eventually.
All right. Well, we're going from a swarm to Yellowjackets here. That is going to be my quick check. The season 2 premiere of Yellowjackets, Friends, Roman Countrymen. Now, I'll briefly explain the series before I kind of get into spoilers of the season 2 premiere, but the show is told in like 2 timelines, and this thriller series from Showtime tells the story of a high school soccer team whose plane crashes in 1996. And then we also see the current lives post-rescue in like 2021, like current day. And I will say season 1 as a whole, while not perfect, it was an exciting mystery surprise. Like, I was, okay, this is interesting. You know, every week there was be some big moment, and the cast is great. You have, I mean, obviously 2 sets. You have the teenagers in 96, and then you have the adults playing the surviving members, Melanie Linsky, Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci. So the cast is there, and it's kind of like this like puzzle. It's because you're seeing like, oh, wait, these people are here. What exactly happened? You know, who else is here? You know, so you're kind of like filling in things. But what worries me is kind of like the Lost of it all, because it is very similar to Lost. Obviously, the plane crash, the storylines, the flashbacks, flash forwards kind of thing. And it's like a pro and con to it, because some of the best TV episodes ever were from Lost, but also probably some of the worst. So it's like, what's it going to pull from? Can the story and mysteries survive however long? Because it is Showtime, and we've seen it with Weeds, with Homeland, with Dexter, with so many shows, with Billions. They just take it and they stretch it out. Shameless, it goes on forever, and I'm worried that they're going to like strain themselves, and like, we got to top ourselves. Like, there were so many shocks and cool mysteries and moments in season 1. How are we going to do that in season 2? Where are we going to make it bigger? Like, and can we also keep the mystery alive? And like, it's hard to go from, I'll just say, the season 1 premiere, the series premiere, the cold open is a flash forward of them on, in the wilderness here, and it's pretty much introduces cannibalism. So it's like, well, where do you go from here? It's gonna be hard. Yeah. Like, it's almost like and it's a little bit of like the Better Call Saul Breaking Bad of it all, because it's like, well, how do we get from these high school soccer players to cannibals in the woods? We'll find out. So it's like
the secret.
We have to see if the pieces connect.
The secret Army Hammer.
He's not on the plane. Probably that's good for everybody. But I will say one of the fun things is like not 100% knowing all the surviving members. Like, you get some, obviously, because we're seeing the storylines like later on, in present day. So it gives stakes to those 1996 scenes where it's like, oh, like people could die. Like it could happen, like in both timelines. However, I will say in this premiere, we saw some things that I was like annoyed by, because again, they're trying to keep that mystery now. They're trying not to box themselves into a corner. They show them returning from, this moment, and they're coming back to civilization. They're getting off the plane, and all the media's there. Where you guys been? What's been going on? And like most of them are wearing like these like black hoodies, so you can't see their faces, except for the ones that we already know are there. We can see those faces, but for everyone else, it's black hoodies down. It's just like, come on. Like, you can't give us anything. But that, and they're definitely they're doing the thing where they're adding people like they definitely did on Lost. It's like, you weren't there in the first season. You weren't there in the plane. There's always like new kids that they're pretending were there. And I hate all the new people so far, but they need people to introduce and kill.
Yeah.
And then, but at the same token, I will say, I'm excited to see some of the new adults. I won't say who's playing who, but you can probably figure it out. Lauren Ambrose is joining the cast for season 2. It's like, okay, like, so they're having really fun with the casting of the adults. So that's where I think I am. And I think you kind of see, like, I am on, I'm on this boat and it's rocking, where I don't know if we're going to capsize or if we're going to be smooth sailing. I'm definitely going to be into it. There's definitely some fun moments to it, but I go in with hesitation with it. So
I always just go back to it's Showtime, man. It's
Showtime.
Yeah, you always got to worry.
Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, one more to talk about tonight. You have a season 3 premiere, Kyle. What do you got?
Yeah, I've only seen the premiere of Ted Lasso. I hate to say it, but some of the charm might have worn off at this point. It's still an easygoing watch. It's still feel good, but I think a little bit of the charm has worn off with the characters. They're just, especially in this episode, it was like, what is the conflict here? They're trying to recreate it again with the owner and Ted Lasso, and it's like, that's not working. Roy and Juno Temple's character are, I don't want to spoil it, but they're like on the outs, and they weirdly brought the niece in for the scene, and the both scenes with the kid actors were very bad, because we meet Ted's kid and it was just not great. I also feel like it made me think of your complaint about John Oliver, with the joke setup, because, and it's also it's a problem that Family Guy had, as it started to age, was they set up they're having a conversation, and I wrote this down. They're setting it up, and then it's like, just like insert pop culture moment here, then back to convo of like, and the joke is the pop culture moment, and it's just like the joke is done so often that it's just like
it loses its value.
It's like, it might have been funny if you did it one or two times, but this is like, every joke is like this. The scene with, or the stuff with, I think his name is Nick Muhammad. He now manages the rival West Ham, or like they're going to be rivaling them all year. And it just, something about it feels forced. It doesn't feel natural. And I think that was a complaint of the end of, it just felt like a swift turn at the back end of last season. And I don't know if it works, but I'll ride it out. I'll see what's going to happen. I do still enjoy it. It still feel good in a way, but there are the charms wearing off, the joke writing at times isn't quite there, but it's still a fun watch.
Is it being overshadowed at all with that Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney show? I know obviously that one is unscripted.
Yeah.
But it has, that definitely has, I feel like, the positive charm, and it's like every. Yeah.
I think they're different in a way. I think they could actually complement each other. Because they are different. I think they're both good intro to like soccer and the soccer world for Americans, because I think even the New York Times I saw recently did an article of like, why isn't Ted Lasso popular in the UK? And it's like, well, in the UK, they're like born and bred soccer fans. They don't need like an intro or like a feel good thing. To them, it's like ride or die hard stuff, It's not like, hey, I'm a football coach and I'm here to,
that's
it's
pretty
just,
good.
It's just
Jason Sudeikis on the podcast.
But it's just one of those things. I don't know. But
yeah. And real quick, is this like, are you feeling because there's rumors that it's the final season. I mean, obviously you've only seen the premiere. Do you feel like it should be? Is it like, are you getting a sense of that?
I think, I think they're kind of laying the groundwork for that, because even Ted is questioning, what am I doing here anymore? Like we got to the premiership. I'd done all this stuff. My kid's back home. Like, what am I doing here anymore? And I think they are laying the groundwork for that, to him returning maybe back to home and back to his kid and all that stuff. But, I would just say for me, it's probably, this might be a good season to end it, unless something significantly changes with the story. I could see this being a good end at last season for it.
Last season for the main show, but there's no way that Apple's not pulling a billions and we're going to be getting spin-offs. There's no way that's not happening.
I'm sure we'll get like a Roy Kent thing or something with
a Coach Beard thing.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, that is it for this week. Those are all the quick checks. That's all we got for this show. We got a lot of stuff coming up, and a little bit of a programming note. We're mostly probably going to be going, at least for the next few months, to an every other week kind of structure on Monday nights. There might be some weeks where we double up depending on what's coming out, but it's going to be April 10th for our next show, Monday, April 10th, and we got a lot of returns coming. We have the returns of the other two and Dave, plus new series like Beef and Jury Duty. The latter is more fun than it sounds. I'll explain it a little bit off air to you guys, but all that stuff. Mario's coming out, John. So much to talk about. And then after all that, another little tease for you. The first weekend in May is the official start to the summer box office season. So that means by the end of April, we got to draft some movies. So a lot of stuff happening on the podcast. Make sure you are following us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, at Dual Redundancy. And of course, you can find episodes of the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doordon'see.com. And we are live Monday nights on Twitch, twitch.tv/doordon'see. Next episode, April 10th. I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight, for watching all these different shows, for John directing the show, putting it up on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you. But until next time, I'm David Allen.
It's a me, Mario.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Do or Don't See. Goodbye, everybody.